Hi, my name is Amy, and I will be giving my persuasive speech today on why boxing is a very negative sport. Boxing is really dangerous because it promotes violence, it portrays violence as entertainment, and it also produces unnecessary injuries that can be very life-threatening. The head injuries are the most dangerous ones because they're very common because when you're boxing, you're hitting people in the face. According to Paventi, out of the 47 boxers studied, 71% of the injuries were related to the head, and a third of those injuries were concussions or subconcussions. According to Silverman, concussions and subconcussions can cause long-term damage, such as memory loss, dementia, or speech problems. According to Daniels, 1 in 5 boxers are at risk for early onset dementia because they've been hit in the head so many times and their brain's getting smacked around and it's not good. Eye injuries are also very common. When people are hitting you in the face, your eyes are exposed and your eyes are very fragile. It's very, very rare that you see a boxer come out of the rink without a black eye or his eyes at least swollen. Major injuries include broken ribs, and that can hinder your breathing. Breathing is important. And also, your broken rib could penetrate something, and you can have internal bleeding, and that is very serious. According to Holloway, minor injuries to the jaw and teeth and your hands are the most common because when you're hitting things, your hands are getting hit, and your jaw and your teeth are just right there, and there's nothing protecting them. With enough hits to the ear, a boxer can also have cauliflower ear, and that's when your ear has been hit so many times that it just kind of loses it and it becomes all disfigured, swells up. It's really awful looking, but your ear's just disfigured. Many people would say, why is boxing so much worse of a sport than any other sport? I mean, there's tons of injuries in football and basketball, but the thing is boxing is all about violence. Your goal is to use violence to knock out your opponent. You're trying to hurt him. In other sports like football and basketball, your goal is to get the ball through here or over there. It's not to hurt the other players. I mean, injuries do happen. That happens when you're playing rough with stuff. But violence is like the center of boxing, and it's very dangerous. Another point is boxing goes against everything that parents teach their kids. Parents teach their kids from when they're little, violence is bad. Don't use your hands, use your words. Don't use your actions to get rid of your anger. And boxing does the opposite. It says violence is okay. Beat the stuffing out of the other guy. It's okay. When a professional sport is based on violence and violence becomes acceptable, it shows children and young adults and adults that violence is an okay outlet. According to Annabella, when people watch boxing, they're more likely to be violent. When kids are sitting there watching a boxing match, they think, man, this is cool, I want to do that. And kids do that with everything. When they will see anything on TV that they like, they want to mimic it. They mimic the things that they like. And so kids can go out in the woods or in the garage and have their own boxing matches, and there's no supervision. Hopefully they're not doing this with supervision, but there's no referees, there's no doctors. I mean, somebody could get really hurt. There's no doctor to fix them. There's no referee to make sure that everything is fair and everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. It's very dangerous. When people become immune to violence, that is when your culture is in trouble. And when violence becomes socially acceptable, which it has with boxing, we're going in a wrong direction. Violence is also seen as entertainment through boxing. When, like I said earlier, when children watch boxing, they see it and they think, that's awesome, I want to do that. And when violence is turned into something fun, it becomes even more dangerous because everyone's doing it. It's okay to do it. Back in Roman times, the games existed for violence. The gladiators would be paired against each other. They would fight to the death. And the criminals were fed to dogs. The dogs chased them down. The criminals were fed to lions. The lions chased them down and ate them. The criminals were hung on a cross. And it was all for the sake of the mob. The mob wanted violence. They needed blood. And whenever a match was getting boring or they were getting bored, there wasn't enough violence, the mob would scream, and the guy providing over the games would either send in other animals to make it more violent, or their culture was all based on violence. And I'm not comparing boxing to the gladiator games, but it's kind of the same concept, that when people are hungry for violence. I mean, when you watch boxing, you hear people screaming, kick him, hit him harder. What world do you want people to be hurting each other? I mean, even if it is for you're going to make money off the sport, it doesn't matter. Violence is not the way to go. And in conclusion, boxing is very negative because it promotes violence. It promotes violence as entertainment, and there are many injuries that happen that shouldn't happen when you're having a sport based on violence. It's just a very unsafe sport.